Marfoogle News going live in 3. All right, what is going on, guys? It is Adam, aka Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. We've got a lot to go over in a short amount of time, and again, make sure to join us after this for our Marfoogle TV show as well. We're going to go over everything that just happened over the weekend, and of course, there was a lot. There was a massive game changer. And this is, I agree, like there's very often they put these headlines and I'm like, they do it for spunk, right? But as far as a game changer goes, I would say what just happened and what the president just did is a massive need to know. And I say this because people really don't follow what happens over the weekend. And who knows what they're going to end up distracting us with next. Now, as far as what the president just did, is he just approved long-range missiles that could literally hit Moscow city center to Ukraine. So, just a couple weeks ago, we were talking about how he halted all shipments, and within a few days, they did a U-turn on that. And now, of course, they are not only sending weapons, they're sending in some of our best. And some of the quotes here are incredible. It's like the U.S. president says he's very unhappy with Moscow's aggression, which, again, it is a war, as the NATO chief Mark Rutte in the White House. It says it comes just a week after Trump accused Putin of throwing bull crap, and I'll be nice, at Washington on Ukraine and making meaningless promises. Moscow said that it had no immediate reaction to the president's strongly worded comments about Putin, but the Kremlin said that its sending arms to Ukraine only serves to prolong the conflict. He also vowed to send U.S. weapons comprising of everything in their arsenal. And, of course, he said top-of-the-line weapons, the best of the best America has, are going, right? I mean, this is a huge change. I mean, think about the huge debates we had over the last 4 years about even sending tanks. I mean, we had debates about sending tanks. Then it was about jets. Then it was about Patriot missiles. Now we are apparently sending the best Patriots and SAM launchers. These things can frickin' hit Moscow. So where is this going? Is it going backwards? It certainly is not. Again, we're going to talk about this more in detail over on the later show, so stick around. But before we continue to the other stories, I do want to remind you guys, make sure to go check out marfooglenews.com/EMP. I don't know if you guys caught the show a few days ago that had the panel of experts on Diary of a CEO, but they were talking about, essentially that World War III is already here. Half of them believe that we are already in it, that proxy wars, all these conflicts that are already going on is the World War III. And in history, when you look back, I've agreed. I've said, when you look at World War II and World War I, they didn't call it that until much later. Now, it got worse and worse and worse, and that's exactly what we're seeing now. If you would follow the kind of chart here, if they do anything to us here in the U.S., and if you want to be prepared, then this would be what to be prepared for. Go get a EMP Shield. Again, this is a much likely scenario compared to any other kind of attack on the U.S. Of course, there's a billion different things that could happen, but this protects you against two major events. An EMP strike against our country from any adversary. It will continue to make your car, go vroom. And then, of course, trucks, cars, motorcycles, generators, both solar and, of course, gas. And you can actually put one of these on your home. So go to marfooglenews.com/EMP and make sure to use the code MARF. And again, it also protects against CMEs, a Carrington level event from the sun. marfooglenews.com/EMP. Code MARF gets you $50 off per device. Let's bring in my co-internet brother, Dex James. What is going on and how are you doing today?
Well, hello, Adam, and hello, Foogle fam. I'm doing just fine.
So let's talk about this next piece, World War III tension, which is all over every headline right now.
Right. So a former senior British Army officer has warned that Putin may resort to using tactical nuclear weapons if the war does not end soon. They claim that Vladimir is seriously contemplating the use of tactical nuclear weapons in Ukraine, and that it's because even though they have an overwhelming advantage of manpower and weaponry, they're struggling to actually make any substantial progress on the battlefield. They're looking at a study that went back since January of 2024 and said that his army's only managed to capture about 5,000 square kilometers of territory. And I think they even compared it to some times in World War One, where they said now um, he's taken on average daily maybe 50 meters a day in the Kharkiv region, where even in World War One at its slowest was 80 meters per day. So they're suggesting that it's not a full stalemate, but it certainly doesn't seem like they're making as much progress outside of just constantly hitting one another and destroying lots of things. They're not making Russia itself isn't making progress in the land grabs. Now, I tend to disagree on the tactical side, just because it's not going to solve the problem to drop a tactical and all of a sudden he's going to get land that he's trying to claim. Because if he does, it's going to not be very usable land. And tacticals are more in line for when you're trying to take out large numbers of infantry or large numbers of weapons. And Ukraine fights in a decentralized manner. They are scattered. They do not congregate, and it doesn't yield for that, unlike traditional warfare that has in the past, or large militaries moving through. So I think he'll save the tacticals for that. Now, he could use it maybe not for the tactical advantage, but use it for just escalation or psychological effect, and maybe trying to pull off a Hiroshima Nagasaki style thing where he gets the war to end and come to the table. But at the same time, the table's been open and they can go to it anytime they want. So that's just my opinion, but a lot of people are pushing the tactical nuke story right now.
Including, everybody watched. There was 3 million views on that video in just a couple days, and of course, the actual thumbnail said, we're moving before 2026 or 2027. I know where they got that quote. Andrew Bustamante has said that for a long time. That's the ex-CIA guy, which most people do not. And it's kind of crazy that there are so many big names that are ex-CIA that are open about it, that are on YouTube. Of course, Andrew Bustamante, Sean Ryan, of course, the Sarah Adams, that huge, claim that she made in December that there were these coordinated attacks being planned on the U.S. in 2025. The thing is when you look at this, this can only go one direction. China is not doing all of this practice for Taiwan for it to just kind of go away. Now, maybe they hoped that they would go the same way as Hong Kong, and they were going to be able to get the right people in there and get it. But it does not look like the trillions of dollars they've most likely spent over the last decade making ways to actually, land on Taiwan and take it, that they're doing that all for nothing. And if they are, if Taiwan all of a sudden says, you know what, we're part of China now, then you should be really worried about what those bridge boats are for, what those amphibious tanks are for. They're all for like rolling up and then just going right up onto land and taking over. That should worry you if they aren't going to get Taiwan in some other way. But there is no option where they're not getting Taiwan. And where you understand that does start a massive war, then you know exactly what's happening. Australia just did one of the largest military drills in history. That actually just popped off. We, of course, have that in our later show. I'll talk about that briefly over on Marfoogle TV. Now, this is kind of crazy because we talked about this, and this is something where, everybody has been talking about EpiPen, and once again, it is the subject that everybody is talking about. And it is kind of crazy how many times this is taken like the very top of headlines. But what is even crazier is what we have talked about the Elon and the president fighting. It's almost it almost looks like this could be some sort of fake fight to have both sides saying, hey, put out the files. And it was almost like too obvious, like the president going in front of all of the media and saying, let's skip that. I don't want to talk about it. I mean, you're acting like this president is stupid. They know the media. They know the media so much that they troll them, right? So I'm just wondering, and I'm not trying to say this to support or to go against, but I will tell you this: our original theory of why Elon and the president, who are so close, that all of a sudden Elon is now saying, "Oh, the files, they won't release them because he's in them." Now, that has had that exact effect that we guessed. We thought maybe they're fake fighting so that both sides tell them to come out with it. Then they're forced to bring it out. Lawmakers are doing it. And then when they bring them out, not only is he, a minor mention, which again, I think if he was a big mention in those, that they would have already used it against him. I mean, heck, they took a pot shot at his head. They basically threw everything in the book at him, including court cases, including felonies. You would think that if they had that dirt from those files, which I guarantee you under the last admin they had access to or could get, then they would use it against him. But again, now if they release them, all of these other people will be exposed. There's a lot of different ways that people think about this. There are ways that people are thinking about why the president would deny this. But they're saying put up or shut up. And they suddenly want the president and the administration to absolutely disclose everything. So it's all you had to do is have him on video once saying, I don't want to talk about it. And then boom. I mean, I think it's almost obvious. And I think it's pretty genius if that's the case. If not, then we're all going to hate our president because, again, what the opposite means is that he doesn't want it out because he's in it. But I've seen every creator, including big ones that, Asmongold is talking about this, covering it ad nauseum to millions of young people and saying, oh, yeah, the president did this wrong. I mean, frickin' Tom McDonald is frickin' doing small videos about it and basically saying our admin is lying to us and all of this. I mean, it has changed in about 2 weeks. Everything has kind of flip-flopped. And a lot of loyalty that's gone towards the president is just kind of flying out the window. But is it because they know somewhere later something big is going to come out and it's part of a huge, bigger plan to destabilize the people in the shadows? I don't know. But I do know this. It is pretty crazy that they're calling for it. Dex, the files, again, now they're saying, why are they still hidden? And everybody is calling for them to come out with it.
Exactly. I at some point, something's got to change, and it will be interesting to see at the end of the day if this was all part of a bigger strategy, or if this was just the way it was, and there's something else, some other reason that we just don't understand, or many people don't want to believe, or many people are flipping to believe that that the president is trying to hide something himself. It's going to be one of those two things. And I have a sneaking suspicion we're going to find out in the not too distant future.
Well, and as a president on his second term, do you think he has no media training? Do you think that, I mean, but that's the thing. We all have had this thought, like, is he just off base with his, his following? Like, he straight up said, oh, let's not talk about that. I mean, he said it in such a way that it was instantly a cringe moment. And everybody's like, what the hell are you doing this for? Something just seems off. And every time my gut says so, usually it's right. And I think we all have that little thing in the back of us going, wait, are we being manipulated in some way? And in this case, I hope it's manipulated in a good way, but what if it comes out and all of these nasty people go away and, they called for it to come out? There's tons of people on that list. They said that there was no list. As Tom McDonald says, there's no list probably because they deleted the list. So we'll see what ends up happening with it. And again, I hope that, everything comes out, and I hope that people go to jail. But tell me what you think in the comments down below. And again, make sure to join us for the next show. We're going to talk about even more just absolutely absurd movements that have happened this weekend. Of course, you have deployments. You have some of the craziest drills going on. And I went through all of the contracts, all of the different things that our military is doing right now. The world is doing. I've got several instances. This is proof that we are absolutely heading into something not only big, massive. Every country has just gotten the memo, and everybody is making things. And guess what? Those contracts are not due in 2052, 2032. They are due at the end of this year. That never happens. So we'll see that in just a few minutes over on Marfoogle TV. Just look for this thumbnail. If you're in the chat, stay here. If you're watching the replay, all you have to do is click here. We'll see you in just a few minutes over on Marfoogle TV.